Hauntings in the story are well known among several staff members working for the company of Deseret Book, located in the heart of Salt Lake City, Utah. The encounters described are nothing short of spine-tingling. Multiple workers claim to have seen the apparition of a former employee that retired from Deseret Book back in 2009, but then passed away shortly after his departure from the company. He's been seen walking around the warehouse in a black trench coat he often wore. Many of the new hires have asked the same question: who was that guy in the trench coat? Only to be met with the unsettling conclusion that the only man that ever wore a trench coat around the facility had died long ago. One of the delivery drivers, who had worked closely with the former employee, said, "I was walking through the aisles in the back of the warehouse when I saw someone standing in the middle of the aisle. I started walking towards the person, yelling out to them that this was a restricted area, but as I got closer, the man looked directly at me. To my astonishment, I realized that this was my former coworker wearing his signature black trench coat. I turned around for only a split second to see if anyone else had witnessed what I was seeing, but when I turned back to him, he had vanished." On more than one occasion, members of the night shift crew have reported hearing the sounds of someone slamming a metal object against the beams inside the warehouse. One of their newest night managers was skeptical and didn't believe any of the claims until one night, while alone in the building, on a day no one else was scheduled to work. He was there finishing up a small project when suddenly he heard what sounded like someone striking a hammer against one of the beams with tremendous force. Knowing that he was the only person there, he left as fast as he could and later swore he would never step foot in that building alone again. But among all accounts tied to this particular warehouse, one story has stuck with me more than any other: the unsolved mystery of a young girl who vanished without a trace, leaving behind no real leads and no answers to the location of her whereabouts. The story you're about to hear is truly tragic. The year was 1995, when 15-year-old Kipling Davis went missing from her high school campus in Spanish Fork, Utah, never to be seen again. Leading up to her disappearance, close friends of Davis informed investigators that she had expressed the desire to run away. She also mentioned she had no plans to attend any social gatherings that day. Davis was later reported missing by her family after failing to return home that night. Investigators suspected foul play was involved, but at the time they weren't able to find any evidence to prove their theories, and the case remained open for nearly 16 years, until 2003, when the U.S. Attorney brought the case back into the spotlight, narrowing in on former classmates of Davis. One student in particular, Tim Olson, caught the eye of investigators early on during their 1995 investigation. While being interviewed, he gave the detectives multiple conflicting statements about the last time he had seen Davis. Other individuals came forward testifying that Olson had confessed to the murder of 15-year-old Kipling. In a later statement, Olson recounted witnessing another party strike Davis on the head with a rock and then helped dispose of her body. However, he refused to identify the other persons involved. Olson never disclosed the location of where Davis had been buried, but ultimately, with all the evidence stacked against Olson, he was tried for the murder of Davis, and on February 11, 2011, Olson pled guilty to manslaughter and received 15 years in prison. Over the years, countless rumors have surfaced about the possible location of Kipling's remains. Some believe her body was concealed in Spanish Fork Canyon near a river. Others claim she was buried on the grounds of Deseret Book, as at the time of her disappearance, the building was under construction, but this has never been proven beyond the allegations. A former employee of the company shared their accounts of a strange encounter they had while working in the warehouse early one morning. The employee stated, "I remember we had just entered our busy season at work and were scheduled to work New Year's Eve, as my supervisor at the time had declared this day as a mandatory work day for all employees, so I figured I'd arrive extra early to get a head start. It was 4 a.m., and I was the only one in the warehouse, besides one other person, a delivery driver who at the time was outside warming up the truck. I was at my workstation packing boxes and had just got done filling an order. I turned to set the box on the conveyor belt when I saw a younger girl with reddish hair that I hadn't recognized before. She was leaning over the conveyor with her arms behind her back and had a confused look on her face, like she was trying to figure out what I was doing. I turned to my computer for only half a second, then looked back in her direction to see if she needed something, but she had disappeared. I looked around the area, searching for any sign of where she might have gone, but I never saw the girl again. After my shift was over, I told another coworker about the encounter. She then told me to look up the name Kipling Davis. When I pulled up a photo of Kipling, I immediately recognized her as the girl I had seen that morning, standing on the opposite side of my workstation. Before this encounter, I had no knowledge of who Kipling was, and after reading the articles about her disappearance, I can only feel a deep sense of sadness for the life that was taken far too soon. Kipling's convicted killer is set for release on February 10th, 2026. I hope the Davis family can find peace through this difficult time and is one day reunited with their beloved daughter. Well, that's it for today's story. What do you think of this encounter? Do you believe that it was Kipling's spirit wandering around the warehouse? Let me know what your theories are down in the comments. And if you have a scary, strange, or mysterious story of your own, submit it to the Dark Note submission site. The link will be down in the description. I'll be waiting.